The late-night silence was shattered when Liam opened the bathroom door and saw the test strip on the sink. 2 pink lines. His stomach dropped. "Emma," he called, his voice unsteady. She appeared in the doorway, eyes wide, hands trembling. Emma said, "I didn't know how to tell you. I'm pregnant." Liam's mind reeled. They'd just talked about breaking up a week ago. This wasn't supposed to happen. The air thickened. His thoughts clashed with his emotions. Was this joy, fear, or manipulation? He stepped back. "How?" Emma sniffled. "I wanted to keep you, Liam. I was scared you'd leave." Her voice cracked under the weight of confession and pretense. Liam stared, his heart pounding, caught between the fear of fatherhood and the suspicion that something wasn't right. In that moment, nothing felt real. Only the cold tiles beneath his feet and the echo of a truth he wasn't ready to face. Liam sat in the dim kitchen hours later, staring into a cold cup of coffee. Emma was asleep, or pretending to be. His thoughts raced. He remembered how, just a week ago, they'd nearly ended things. The love had felt worn thin, stitched together by history and habit. Her sudden announcement didn't just catch him off guard. It ripped through every doubt he had. "Why now?" he whispered aloud. He could still hear her saying, "I didn't know how to tell you." But what haunted him more was the way her eyes looked, like a cornered animal. Had she trapped him? Or was she just afraid? The line between sincerity and manipulation blurred dangerously. He tapped the mug absent-mindedly, the sound echoing. Everything had changed. And yet, nothing felt resolved. The next morning, Emma made breakfast like everything was normal. She hummed as she scrambled eggs, but Liam could see the stiffness in her shoulders. He watched her closely. "You sure you're okay?" he asked. She smiled too quickly, too bright. "Of course, just tired." The scent of coffee filled the room, but the tension between them thickened with each passing second. Liam said, "You didn't mention any symptoms before." She paused, spatula hovering, then said, "I was scared. I didn't want you to think I was lying." He swallowed hard. "Are you?" Her back straightened, but she didn't turn around. "No," she said quietly. The lie, or truth, hung there, suspended in silence as the eggs sizzled behind her. Liam felt like he was watching a play and didn't know the script anymore. Later that day, Liam stepped into the bathroom again. The test was gone. The counter was spotless, almost unnaturally so. He checked the trash. Nothing. No box. No wrapper. Cleaned out. Like it had never existed. Cold shiver ran down his spine. "Emma," he called. No answer. He walked to the bedroom. She lay on the bed, scrolling through her phone. "Where's the test?" he asked. Her eyes flicked up. "I threw it out." "Where?" She hesitated. "I didn't think you'd need it again." Liam's fists clenched at his sides. "That's convenient." Her gaze hardened. "Are you saying you don't believe me?" The silence between them turned sharp, a blade neither of them wanted to grab. Liam realized. This wasn't just about a pregnancy. It was about trust. And the cracks were already spreading. That night, Liam stood alone on the balcony, cigarette trembling between his fingers, though he hadn't smoked in years. The city stretched endlessly before him, lights blinking like indecisive thoughts. He could hear Emma laughing softly inside at some video. Her mood swings were jarring, too cheerful, too sudden. He exhaled. Was this desperation? Was she trying to anchor him to something that wasn't real? He loved her. Or maybe he loved who she used to be. Now, everything felt staged, performed. He watched the smoke curl into the night and whispered to no one, "What if I'm being played?" The fear wasn't just about her lie. It was about what it meant for everything they'd built. Was anything between them ever real? The days passed, and Emma spoke less of the pregnancy. Liam, ever more skeptical, suggested attending her first appointment together. She smiled faintly. They moved it, overbooked. The next day, another cancellation. Then, another. He began marking each excuse in his phone. "What's the name of the clinic?" he asked one morning. Emma hesitated. "I'll send you the info later." She never did. Liam stared at the empty calendar entry, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. The anxiety clawed deeper. If this was real, wouldn't she want him there? Wouldn't she be eager to share each detail? Instead, it was shadows and silence. That night, as Emma slept beside him, Liam opened her drawer and found prenatal vitamins still unopened in their foil. His stomach turned. The puzzle was missing too many pieces, and the few he held didn't fit together. One Saturday afternoon, Liam returned early from work. As he stepped into the hallway, he heard Emma's voice from the living room. "No, I haven't told him everything. Not yet." His feet froze. The TV wasn't on. She was on the phone. He inched closer. "If he finds out, I don't know what he'll do." A pause. "No, I'm not actually." Silence. Liam couldn't breathe. The air felt thick. The door creaked under his weight, and Emma abruptly ended the call. She spun around. "Hey, I didn't hear you come in." Her smile was brittle, like cheap glass ready to shatter. "Who were you talking to?" he asked. "Just my cousin." She laughed nervously. "Girl talk." Liam didn't respond. He just stared. Her performance was unraveling, thread by thread. And she knew it. Over coffee, Liam confided in his longtime friend, Marcus T. "I don't think she's pregnant," he said, voice low. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "What makes you say that?" Liam explained the missed appointments, the dodged questions, the unopened pills. Marcus leaned back, folding his arms. "Man, you sure she didn't fake it to keep you?" Liam looked down. "That's what I'm afraid of." The cafe buzzed around them, but Liam felt detached, like he was watching life happen from outside a glass box. "You need proof," Marcus said. "Or you'll drive yourself insane." Liam nodded slowly. He already felt insane. But now he wasn't just questioning Emma. He was questioning himself. His judgment. His loyalty. His love. That evening, Liam brought it up. "You've been acting strange, avoiding everything." Emma's eyes welled instantly. "You think I'm lying?" she choked. "You think I'd fake something like this?" She sank to the couch, sobbing. "I thought you loved me." Liam froze. His logic collided with guilt. He moved toward her, unsure. "Emma." She turned away. "Forget it, you don't believe me." The performance was too clean. The sobs too exact. Liam studied her from the corner of his eye, shoulders shaking rhythmically, face buried in hands. Something about it felt rehearsed, like a scene she'd played in her head too many times. But his doubt made him feel like a villain. "Maybe I'm being paranoid," he thought. But deep down he knew. It wasn't paranoia. It was instinct. That night, long after Emma had fallen asleep, Liam picked up her phone. He hesitated, guilt pulsing in his chest, but unlocked it anyway. No messages from a doctor. No health app updates. Nothing in her calendar. But one chat thread stopped him cold. "So when are you going to tell him?" it read. Emma had responded, "He's not ready for the truth." The sender had replied with a string of question marks. Liam felt the blood drain from his face. There was no mention of pregnancy anywhere. No ultrasound photos. No clinic reminders. Just vague words. Secrets. Deflection. His hands trembled as he placed the phone back. He stood in the darkness, surrounded by silence, but inside, everything screamed. She wasn't just hiding something. She was hiding everything. Liam sat alone in his car, engine idling as he stared at the name of the clinic Emma had finally given him. He'd called once, no record. Twice, same response. Now, clutching his phone in one hand and his breath in the other, he tried again. "Women's Health Center," a calm voice answered. Liam said, "Hi, I'm calling to confirm an appointment for Emma Crawford." A pause. We don't have anyone by that name scheduled. His heart dropped. Any recent appointments? Even cancellations? More silence. No record, sir. Liam thanked her numbly and ended the call. The truth slammed into him like a truck. She hadn't just lied, she'd built an entire fiction around it. As the silence in the car deepened, Liam leaned back and covered his face. His trust wasn't just broken, it had been manipulated, weaponized. That evening, Emma waved a folded piece of paper like a flag of truth. "Look," she said, "I got the scan today." Liam opened it slowly. An ultrasound image, black and white, with blurry initials at the bottom. But something felt off. The date was cropped. The clinic logo faint. Emma beamed nervously, searching his face. "I wanted it to be a surprise," she whispered. Liam stared at it, fingers trembling. He'd seen enough online to know fake templates were everywhere. "Which doctor did you see?" he asked. "Dr. Reynolds." He nodded slowly. There was no Reynolds at the clinic he'd called. He didn't say that out loud. Instead, he folded the paper and placed it on the table. "Thanks for showing me," he said quietly. Emma exhaled. But behind Liam's calm, his thoughts screamed. She was digging in deeper. And now she was doubling down. Liam couldn't hold it in any longer. "Why isn't your name at the clinic?" he asked, voice calm but razor sharp. Emma froze. "What?" "I called 3 times. Her face paled. "You don't trust me, should I?" he shot back. "You lied about the appointments. You handed me a forged scan. What else?" Emma's face twisted, pain morphing into rage. "I did it for us," she screamed. "I thought if I lost you, I'd lose everything." Her voice cracked. "I just needed to keep you here long enough to fix things." Liam stood, hands clenched. "You didn't need to trap me," he said, quieter now. "You needed to tell the truth." Emma's breathing grew ragged. "I was scared," she whispered. For a split second he saw her, not the liar, but the terrified woman behind the lie. And it almost broke him. Word got out. Friends began picking sides. Some messaged Liam quietly. Maybe she needs help. Others distanced themselves altogether. One couple invited him to dinner and whispered, "She's not stable." Liam hated it. Hated that their private hell had become community gossip. Emma knew too. He could see it in her withdrawn face, her sudden silences. She no longer posted online. She barely left the apartment. The woman who once thrived on attention was now retreating. But Liam wasn't sure if it was guilt or damage control. The worst part? He missed her. Or rather, the version of her before all this. The real Emma, or the one he thought was real, felt like a ghost now. Everyone had an opinion. But Liam was the one living inside the collapse. Liam's paranoia reached a breaking point. That night, as Emma slept soundly, he downloaded a tracking app onto her phone. He hated himself for it, but he needed to know the truth. The next day, while she said she was going to her new OB-GYN, he watched the dot on the map drift elsewhere, across town, then into a coffee shop. No clinic. No doctor. Just a quiet cafe where she stayed for over an hour. His heart beat faster with every passing minute. He drove there but didn't go in. He sat across the street, watching. She was alone. No papers. No signs of a medical visit. Just her, staring at her phone, sipping a latte. He clenched the steering wheel. That moment confirmed it. Whatever she was doing, it wasn't about a child. It was about control. Liam followed her again. It was late afternoon, cloudy skies pressing low. She walked into a community center, head down, hoodie drawn tight. Not a clinic. He waited. After an hour, curiosity won. He stepped in, made an excuse to the receptionist, and scanned the board. Room 3. Healing after loss, closed session. His chest tightened. Through the cracked door he caught a glimpse. Emma seated in a circle, hands fidgeting, listening intently as another woman shared her pain. There were no medical charts, no pregnancy bump, just sorrow. Pure, unfiltered grief. Liam backed away before she saw him. His mind spun. Was she pretending here too? Or was this the real truth behind the lie? A broken woman replaying past trauma in a desperate bid not to lose again. That night, Liam sat at his desk, the image of Emma in that circle haunting him. He searched through old files on her laptop, an old journal folder buried beneath photos. One entry stood out, dated 4 years ago. I held the test in my hand and cried, but by week 9, the bleeding started. His hands trembled as he read. He didn't even know. I never told anyone. The words blurred. I was going to name her Sky. Liam leaned back, devastated. She had been pregnant once. She had lost it. And no one knew. Not even him. Maybe this wasn't a calculated lie. It was the resurrection of a trauma she never healed from. She wasn't trying to trap him. She was trying to undo the past, with him as her second chance. Driven by something deeper than anger now, Liam searched her side of the closet. Behind layers of coats and boxes, he found it, an old shoebox. Inside, a tiny pair of knitted booties, a faded sonogram, and a name tag. Sky. His throat closed. Beneath it all was a worn letter she'd never sent, to the baby I'll never meet. Tears blurred the lines. The handwriting trembled with sorrow, not deception. Suddenly, the performance made sense. The breakdowns. The fake pregnancy. They weren't traps. They were echoes. Her grief hadn't left. It had disguised itself as a lie just to feel real again. Liam sank to the floor, clutching the box. He wasn't angry anymore. He was broken for her, and terrified of what that kind of pain could do. Later that night, Liam found a small leather-bound diary under Emma's pillow. Its pages were filled with scrawled thoughts, spirals of grief, memories of what might have been, longing for a family she'd lost before it even began. Maybe if I pretend I can have it back, one entry read. Another, he won't stay if he knows I'm broken, but maybe he'll stay for a baby. Liam turned the pages slowly, each word a blade. This wasn't evil. It was despair, weaponized by loneliness. She hadn't just faked a pregnancy, she had faked hope. He closed the book, stunned. How do you confront someone who's not lying to hurt you, but lying because truth hurts more than the lie ever could? Emma sat silently on the couch when Liam approached, the diary in his hand. She looked up, eyes red but dry. You found it, she whispered. He nodded. Why didn't you just tell me? She looked away. Because if I said it out loud it would be real again. Her voice barely carried. And I couldn't survive it again. Liam sat beside her. What you did, it hurt me. But now I understand why. She leaned into him slightly, and for the first time in weeks she wasn't acting. I didn't mean to lie, she said. I just wanted to feel something other than loss. Liam stared at the floor, overwhelmed. The truth hadn't freed him. It had tied him even deeper. Not to a lie, but to a broken woman clinging to fragments. Liam sat across from Marcus at their usual bar, the ambient noise of clinking glasses barely reaching him. You need to leave, man, Marcus said, blunt as ever. That's not love, that's manipulation. Liam stared into his drink. It's not that simple. Marcus leaned in. She lied, Liam. She created an entire world to trap you in. Liam nodded slowly. I know, but it came from pain. Marcus shook his head. Her pain doesn't give her the right to destroy yours. The words hit hard, because they were true. But Liam still saw the scared woman on that couch, the grief she'd never buried. What if I'm the only person she has left? He whispered. Marcus exhaled. Then she needs help, not your silence. And you need to stop bleeding for someone who won't stop cutting. Back home, Liam paced the living room, turning over his phone in his hands. Should he report it? False pregnancy for emotional manipulation? There were no laws for grief, but there were consequences for deceit. His finger hovered over the contact for a therapist he'd found online. For her, not him. Then slowly, he deleted it. Not because she didn't need help, but because she had to choose it herself. He couldn't fix this. Not anymore. He sat down, exhausted. How do you punish someone for falling apart in slow motion? Emma wasn't evil, she was shattered. But knowing that didn't protect him from the fallout. In this story, there were no villains. Just survivors walking through the wreckage of love that wasn't enough to hold everything together. The next morning, Emma stood by the window, arms wrapped around herself, watching the sun rise like a penance. Liam sat on the edge of the couch, silent. She turned to him, eyes hollow but steady. I made it all up, she said. No dramatics. No tears. I was never pregnant. He nodded. I know. She closed her eyes. I thought if I could feel it again, I'd feel something real. I didn't expect it to last this long. Liam stood but didn't move closer. You hurt me. I know. You broke us. I know that too. She wiped a tear. I thought lying would bring you back. But it just made me lose you faster. The honesty hit harder than the lie. Because now, there was no hiding, just two people with nothing left but the truth between them. That afternoon, Liam began packing a small bag. Emma didn't stop him. She watched from the doorway, expression blank. Where will you go? She asked. Somewhere quiet, he replied. I need time. She nodded, tears brimming but unshed. Do you hate me? He paused, zipping the bag. No, I just can't be here right now. Silence stretched. Will you come back? She whispered. He looked at her. I don't know. Her face crumpled for a second, then steadied again. This time, she didn't beg. She didn't plead. Maybe she finally understood. This wasn't about punishment. It was about survival. Liam opened the door, sunlight slicing through the threshold. He hesitated, then stepped out, leaving behind the love that had turned into a wound too deep to ignore. Liam checked into a small inn on the edge of town. The room was simple, white walls, clean sheets, no memories. He sat on the bed, staring at nothing. For the first time in weeks, there were no lies, no performances, no manipulation. Just silence. He didn't cry. He didn't even feel relief. Just emptiness. Outside, the night sang with crickets, cars distant on the highway. He wondered if Emma was still sitting by the door, if she was crying, or if she'd finally let herself sleep. He didn't know what tomorrow held. Maybe he'd forgive her. Maybe he wouldn't. But tonight he could finally breathe. And in that breath, there was something new. Uncertainty, yes. But also space. And sometimes, space was the only mercy love could leave behind. Liam sat across from Emma's therapist in a neutral-toned office that smelled faintly of lavender and paperwork. I'm not here to blame her, he said quietly. I just want to understand. The therapist nodded. Emma's behavior was driven by unresolved trauma. When grief festers, it can manifest as control, desperation. Liam looked down. She created a child that wasn't there. Because she lost one that was, the therapist replied gently. She needed to feel worthy of love again. But it doesn't make the deception right. It only makes it human. Liam leaned back in his chair, absorbing the words like heavy rainfall. So what do I do now? The therapist smiled sadly. You draw a boundary, not out of anger, but out of care. For her, and for yourself. And for the first time, Liam didn't feel cruel for walking away. He felt kind. Emma stared at her phone, days since Liam left. No messages. No missed calls. She sat on the bedroom floor, surrounded by silence, her legs pulled into her chest, eyes swollen. The apartment was dim, untouched. Dishes stacked. Clothes left unfolded. Her world, once so carefully staged, had collapsed in on itself. She scrolled through old photos of them. Smiles, late-night pizza, quiet Sunday mornings. Lies woven with real joy. she whispered to herself. I just wanted us back. Her fingers hovered over his name, then stopped. She knew he wouldn't answer. And maybe he shouldn't. She had crafted a fantasy so tightly that when it cracked, the shrapnel cut both of them. Now all she could do was sit inside the wreckage and let it fall silent. 2 days later, Liam returned, not to stay but to speak. Emma opened the door slowly, as if unsure she still had the right. I didn't expect you, she said. I know, he replied. They sat across from each other, coffee growing cold between them. I saw the therapist, he said. I needed to understand. Emma nodded. And you're hurting, but I can't be your bandage. Silence. I know that now, she whispered. I don't want to lie anymore. I want to get help. Liam looked at her. No more illusions. Just wreckage. And maybe, beneath it, rebuilding. Then that's where it starts, he said softly. Emma nodded, a single tear sliding down her cheek. It wasn't reconciliation. It was release. And sometimes, letting go was more loving than staying. Liam packed the last of his things, methodical now. No anger. No tension. Just acceptance. Emma stood near the door, arms crossed, unsure whether to step forward or stay still. Are we done? She asked. Her voice wasn't hopeful, just searching. Liam looked at her, long and quiet. We're over. But we're not enemies. Emma blinked fast, then nodded. You were the first person I thought I could trust after. And I did trust you, he interrupted gently. Until you didn't trust me with the truth. That line hung between them like fog, gentle but impenetrable. He picked up his bag, gave her one last look. Heal, Emma. Not for me, for you. And with that, he walked out. This time without the weight of doubt, only the ache of honesty. Emma stood alone in the quiet door closed behind him. The silence wasn't as cruel as she expected. It was honest. She didn't scream or collapse. She walked to the couch, sat down and breathed. For the first time, she didn't pretend. No imaginary baby. No facades. Just herself, flawed, grieving, and awake. Meanwhile, Liam drove through back roads outside the city, window cracked, wind brushing his face like a reset. There was no clear future, no sudden relief. But there was space. Room for healing. Room for memory, for pain, for whatever came next. He didn't hate her. He didn't love her anymore either. But he had forgiven her, silently, in that final goodbye. And in that quiet mercy, they were both, finally, free. 3 months later, summer had begun to fade, and Liam walked through a local park. The world had kept moving. So had he. Therapy helped. So did silence. There were no grand epiphanies, just slow, quiet repairs. His phone buzzed in his pocket, but he ignored it. He'd stopped running from the past and started walking through it. As he passed a group of children playing, he felt the faint tug of grief, but not pain. More like memory, folded gently. The trees rustled. Life, it seemed, was rebuilding around him in small, invisible ways. He sat on a bench beneath an old oak tree and just breathed. For once, there was nothing to fix, nothing to unravel. Just the presence of peace, and the echo of a story that no longer defined him. He didn't expect to see her. But there she was, Emma, across the park, seated on a blanket under a tree, book in hand, hair down and unstyled. Alone, but not broken. She looked lighter. Not healed, maybe, but healing. She hadn't seen him. And he didn't move. Just watched for a moment. Silent. The months had changed her too. The shadows under her eyes had softened. Her posture was open. She smiled faintly at something on the page. Liam's chest tightened, not with regret, but with respect. She was trying. And that was enough. He stood, ready to walk away before she saw him, but paused one last time. In that stillness, he silently wished her well. Not in words. In peace. She looked up. Their eyes met. For a second, time slowed. Neither smiled. Neither looked away. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't warm either. Just real. A silent acknowledgement passed between them, of all they had been, of what they had survived. Emma gave the faintest nod. Liam returned it. That was all. No words. No waves. Just a quiet seal on a chapter that had once consumed them both. The distance between them didn't feel cruel anymore. It felt earned. This wasn't a reunion. It was closure, the final thread of a tangled knot finally falling loose. Liam turned and walked away, his steps unhurried, his heart unexpectedly calm. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. Behind him was a story he had lived fully, painfully, completely. Ahead was the unknown, but it no longer felt threatening. It felt open. Every breath he took filled his lungs with clarity. This wasn't victory. This wasn't defeat. It was simply freedom. And it had taken heartbreak to earn it. As he crossed the final stretch of the park, the sky opened up with late golden light. The kind of light that didn't demand attention, only offered comfort to those willing to see it. Liam saw it. And for the first time in a long time, he smiled. As the screen fades, the narrator's voice returns, soft, reflective. Some lies are meant to hurt. Others are meant to protect. But the most dangerous lie is the one we tell ourselves. To feel loved. To feel whole. Emma wasn't evil. Liam wasn't blind. They were both human, fractured by love, held together by grief. But sometimes the bravest thing we can do is walk away from the story we tried too hard to rewrite. A final beat. Quiet. Then the screen cuts to black, leaving only the sound of wind in the trees. No music. No credits. Just the truth, sitting with the audience long after the story ends.